Well, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a video that's a little different. It is military related, but it's different in that I have a rather unique perspective on drill sergeants. So if you're interested in the tea, then stay tuned.
No drill sergeants were harmed in the making of this video.
Okay, so here's a little bit of the tea. How I became somewhat of how I gained this perspective on drill sergeants is really kind of messed up and slightly interesting. So the backstory is I went to Army basic training. I did my 8 weeks and a half-ish. Then I went off to AIT immediately following. I think my AIT was 22 weeks. I think it was 22 weeks. So I went to basic training in October. I graduated in January. I went straight to AIT the next day, which was a Friday. And then we started training that Monday. And so from January to April is when we graduated. So however long that span of time is, that was my time from October to April was basic training and AIT. So, that was my time, did my time, graduated on time, all of that jazz. If you guys are familiar with my channel, then you already know that. If you're new to my channel, then you may not know that, but yeah, your girl graduated on time. So I graduated on time. I'm super proud of that for so many reasons. But how I gained this perspective was that I was stuck with drill sergeants for approximately 5 months after I graduated AIT. So you figure October, November, December, January, February, March, April. That's when I graduated AIT. So that's 7 months. May, June, July, August. Bro, I was with drill sergeants for 11 months. I stress the fact that I graduated on time because my time at Fort Leonard Wood had nothing to do with any disciplinary issues. I was waiting for what's called an EFMP, or an emergency family member program. Yes, emergency family member program. I think that's what the acronym stands for. But anyway, I had a family emergency and I was waiting for all of the paperwork to come through. And so I was sort of in this process. Initially, I was told that the EFMP process was only going to be 2 weeks post-graduation. I ended up being stuck there for like 5 more months. The stress and everything else that came with being stuck with drill sergeants for that long, it was basically like a mini deployment, but I was still stuck in trainee status. And it's kind of hard to describe. It's like this weird limbo life that you live as like you graduated, you kind of earned your keep where you are, but you still technically aren't at your unit, so you're not treated like you're an active duty soldier. You're still treated like a trainee. That comes with all kinds of issues. One, they're not your friend, but they care. Low key. They care. They care about you guys so much. I'm not even kidding. As with anybody, so this doesn't change because they're a drill sergeant. You're going to have really good drill sergeants and really shitty drill sergeants. I mean, some of them are people who volunteered, they're super hua and they wanted to train other soldiers. Other people was told that they had to be a drill sergeant and they don't want to. There was this one drill sergeant who would literally say like, you know, I was forced to be here and so my life is miserable, so I'm going to make your life miserable. She was short and very miserable. She was super, super miserable. And it was unfortunate because we was just living our life, but she was extremely miserable. So you're going to have a mixture of people who are just really honored by the opportunity and other people who just don't even want to be there. Kind of like soldiers. So they do care. They care about you. They want to see you grow. I know for me, I came in like, again, straight out of the office. I worked in a nonprofit. I wasn't like a fitness instructor or I wasn't in the gym all the time. Shit, I'm still not in the gym all the time. I just wasn't that, I've never been that kind of a person. I joined the military because I just wanted to serve. I just have this deep, deep desire to give to humanity. They care. Because your progression reflects on their ability as a drill sergeant. Ultimately, you have to understand that it's their job to take raggedy ass civilians and turn us into soldiers. I mean, that's sort of the transformation that takes place. And at the end of basic training, you're changed. You're different in so many ways. It's not just about drill and ceremony and those types of things, but you are different. And those drill sergeants had a direct hand in that. So I think that's one of the greatest misconceptions. I had a drill sergeant who you couldn't tell me she wasn't the spawn of Satan.
Why? Stop resting on your hand. Get it up. You packed all that crap. Hold it up. Hold it up. No.
I'm pretty sure she was. The moral of the story is they really do care. And some of them actually have difficulty detaching, just like any of us. You know, we meet our battle buddies, we establish these friendships, and then everyone's off to train at different locations for their MOS.
Still a shit sandwich. You're just not a soggy one.
Even once you get to AIT and you establish these relationships and make buddies, you're going to separate again. You may be so lucky to be stationed at the same place with maybe one or two people you know, but that's sort of the nature of the beast. So can you imagine as a drill sergeant, every cycle, like every couple of months, you're meeting these people, you're forming these attachments in some way. Sure, they're detached in that it's a job and it's their job to train you, but can you really do that and not care? Like, can you really? So even to the spawn of Satan, like I believe that there had to be some ounce of care somewhere in there, because you can't get up every day and do what they do and not have any care. And then there's an occasional soldier like myself, where people just remember you. And I'd like to think that for the most part, I set a positive example. I love soldiers. Obviously I'm an enlisted soldier, but I'm older. And so I kind of have a different perspective. And I think that's no different, for a lot of the drill sergeants. They'll tell you that you're not shit. They'll tell you that they can't stand you, that they don't like people, get out of their fucking face. They'll say everything to make you feel like shit, but ultimately in the back of all of that, they're just human beings. And that goes to part 2. So part 2 is, have you ever just gone to work and just didn't want to fuck with anybody? Like, you didn't want to talk to anybody, you didn't want to see anybody, you just wanted to go to your desk, pour your coffee, shut your door if you had one, or throw your headphones on, zone out, and get your work done and be left the fuck alone. Well, can you imagine having like 120 young people or people that you have to deal with every day? They get like a 4-day and a couple of 3 days, but generally they're with your ass every day, especially during red phase. And they don't get a day off. There is no day off. They can't really afford to have a bad day because at the end of the day, you can get hurt. There's a whole plethora of things that can go wrong if a drill sergeant is off of their game. So that's the other thing, is to recognize that they are committing so much time. So much time. I have this one drill sergeant in mind in particular, and she was just so committed to her soldiers and spent so much time just caring for them, working on their package, trying to make sure that all of their information was straight, and just super committed to the profession, a true professional. But their families suffer. Marriages suffer. Their kids suffer. You know, they don't get a chance to spend time with their children. Oftentimes they have young children and they're not spending time with them. They're not fostering those relationships with their family. And it's very much so like a deployment for them. It was a deployment for me as well, but it's totally different. And it's really like a deployment for them. So just kind of keep that in mind and honor that. Like, this individual is taking out 2 months of their time to train me, to have me become the soldier that I need to become. And so that's really important. And it's just something to consider while you're in training. It's something to keep in mind, like, damn, yo, this person is like really committed to me, you know. Hit times. You're going to hear a lot about hit times. Once you get the basic training or AIT, well, I'll say basic training, because if you got to AIT, then you already know all about hit times. But let's just address hit times. Hit times are important, and it's something that you don't really consider until maybe like white phase. And listen to me. You're not going to consider hit times because you don't have a watch. They take all of who you are, snatch it away, including time. So time doesn't really exist. You just do what you're told to do, and you don't even think or consider time. Literally, time is going by, and you don't fucking know what day it is or what time it is. You're just rolling on and doing what they're telling you to do. I bring that up because what people don't consider is that PT has a time, morning breakfast chow has a time, lunch has a time, and dinner chow has a time, right? So you're getting 3 hot meals throughout the day. Unless you're in the field, you know, you might get field chow or MREs. But generally, there's a feeding time. There's a waking time. There's a fitness time. There is a training time. And if you're on the range, like if you're on white phase and you're like doing a lot of shooting, there's a range time. There are other people who may have that range scheduled for the day. Everything has a hit time. Everything has a hit time. When I was in AIT, I had an opportunity to play drill sergeant a little bit. I absolutely adore my drill sergeants because like they let me do all types of shit. But it was dope though, and it was like an awesome learning experience. But so when we would get new classes into AIT, I would work with my drill sergeants to do shakedowns. I swear that was the littest part of AIT. Well, I had graduated, so technically, you know, I was a soldier without a patch. But they would let me help them with shakedowns. So we would get new classes in straight from basic training, right? Scared to death. Don't have no idea what to expect or what's about to happen. And even the shakedowns have a time. So you think that you're being smoked forever, but you're not. There's so much planning and things going on in the background. I gotta get you guys upstairs to put your personal bags in whatever room we're gonna lock them in. We gotta make sure that you guys get room keys. We gotta make sure that you're in the rec room or the day room or whatever for the commander's brief or the commander and first sergeant updates. Like there's so much. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's constant. There's so much going on in the background. You guys have no idea. even down to the time where you're signed into child. All of that is tracked. All of that is managed. That is like boss time management. You guys have no idea the level of time management that goes into being a drill sergeant and executing a training day on time. I swear you would think I went through like drill sergeant academy or something, but I didn't, you know. So, you know all of the yelling that takes place.
Can I be like I got a dog growing out my forehead? Why? Why? Fix it! No, dog up, fix it! Where's it at? Hey, what is your problem, Paul? What is your freaking problem? Why are you smiling and think I'm drill sergeant? Pick the gear up right now! Get it! Pick it up and comply with the directive that you were given. What is your problem, Danger? Why are you still smiling at me, Danger? Stop freaking smiling! Wipe that grin off your freaking face!
There's so much yelling. Yo, I think that was the one thing that was wearing on my emotional health, was that, like, when you're in basic training, you know it's gonna end. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know at a certain point, basic training is gonna be over. You know at the end of the day, there's an end to AIT and you're gonna make it to the other side, get your unit patch. You know what I mean? Like, you know that you'll be able to go on with your life. In my case, I was stuck there and there was no end in sight. No one told me when this process was going to end, when the paperwork was going to come through. I wasn't sure if I would be approved in the EFMP process. I had no idea what was going to happen to me. I didn't know where they were going to send me. I didn't know if I would be separated from my family. I had this emergent situation going on. It was just a lot, you know what I'm saying? And so when you're going through all of this emotional turmoil, and then you constantly hear drill sergeants drilling, they're just doing their job. But in the background, I'm going through all of this like family stuff, trying to balance it. It really was a lot. But I digress. Going back to drill sergeants and what that means. So they're not yelling for fun. They're yelling because there's a method to their madness. A really good example of yelling where it seems like what the F is the purpose is elbows up so I don't blow up. My elbows aren't up, but elbows up so I don't blow up. So when you're in the chow hall, you get 2 drinks because you need to be hydrated throughout your training. So I have some big ass fists, don't I? Anyway, so you're holding your cups, you're holding your drinks, and you're moving through the chow hall like this. And you're saying elbows up so I don't blow up. Elbows up so I don't blow up, right? And you're saying that, you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? You kind of have a sense that it has something to do with blowing up, but you don't really know, like, what is this brainwash bullshit that you're going through right now? But you will see later on in training, you're going to be on a grenade range and your ass is going to have a live ass grenade and you're going to have to throw a grenade and you better have your elbows up so you don't blow up. So there's a method. There is a method. There's a method. If they say feet together, what is it? Heels together makes your food taste better. Obviously it doesn't. But when you're standing at certain positions, position of attention, there's a method to the madness. So all of the things that you're doing, all the things that they have you say, the positions that they have you in, it's all training. It's getting your muscles to have this memory to remember, like, damn, if I'm on a grenade range and I have to launch it and my elbows are up and I have to bend like this, and I do the pose, and then I throw that joint. All of that means something. It all means something. And you'll see, and some people actually freak out on the grenade range, which actually isn't the best place to freak out. I would say that the last thing that you probably wouldn't consider that they actually go through is adjusting. Like I said, some of them volunteer, some of them are voluntold. All of them go through the Drill Sergeant Academy, but ultimately, TRADOC or training installation is very much so a melting pot. it's a melting pot of MOSs. You know, so you have 88 mics or truck drivers, 74 Deltas, 11 Bravos. You have all of these different 42 Alphas, all of these different MOSs that have become drill sergeants, and they all have to work together. And you have to understand that each MOS has a way. Every MOS has a way of doing things. They have a way of interacting with their leadership, almost like their own lingo, you know, so to speak. Like, I'm a 74 Delta, so we definitely, as Seaburner soldiers, have our own language in chemical warfare, or if we're like in my particular unit, we do a lot of emergency management. So whether it's chemical warfare, emergency management, we have our own language. Likewise, when drill sergeants come to their basic training unit, they're surrounded by other drill sergeants from all kinds of backgrounds, and they don't necessarily speak the language. So that's an interesting dynamic to kind of keep in mind, and maybe even peep while you're at basic training at AIT. You'll see sometimes the tension between drill sergeants because they're just people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's sort of like the core of this video, is that they're people. They're not superhuman. They cry, they get stressed out. They have broken marriages. They have successful marriages. They have kids who are in school. They have kids who they got to pick up for daycare in the morning, or drop them off at daycare in the morning, and then they got to pick them up, and they got to switch shifts in order to be able to do some of those things. And it's just really a lot. It's really a lot. So I guess your drill sergeants will say often, I don't do this for a thank you. They don't. They don't need for you to say thank you. They don't do it for a thank you. When you think about it, I didn't join the Army for a thank you. I don't really give a shit about a free steak dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have like really deep, meaningful reasons as to why I joined, and they don't do it for your thank yous. But the point of this video is to sort of keep in mind the fact that they are human, that especially in red phase, sometimes they're working 6 to 7 days a week. They're hardly spending any time with their families. When you wake up, they're there. When you go to sleep, they're there. Still doing paperwork, still preparing for the next training day. Get home, get a couple hours of sleep, wake up, do that shit all over again. And they're doing it for weeks on end. They get a brief break in between cycles, depending on the training cycle. Then they jump right back in and do that shit all over again. So it's just something to keep in mind. When drill sergeants are on the trail, it's a really special time, but it's also a very difficult time for them. And being stuck at Fort Leonard Wood for almost a year, I really had an opportunity to see some of the humanity and some of the struggles that they all have. They all have the same issues with their bosses and like with each other, and just like, personnel issues and personality differences, and, challenges with balancing their work and their home life, and all of the things that everybody else go through, they're going through. But what makes it more intense for them is that they have to train you, and they can't have a bad day. They're always on. And so it's just something to keep in mind. And then I'm going to do a little bonus clip right quick for the 30 plus folks. Okay, so if you made it to the end of this video, welcome. This quick note is specifically for people who are 30 plus. So, all of my videos kind of have a little tinge towards millennials or people who are a little older attempting to join the military. Something that to keep in mind, this is something that I did not necessarily intentionally do, but it's just something to kind of have in the back of your mind. Do not expect to be treated, to have special treatment because you're older, okay? Some of your drill sergeants are going to be your age. That's not likely. Most of your drill sergeants are going to be younger than you if you come in 30 or older. They're going to be younger than you, and you can't I don't want you to come in expecting that they're going to treat you differently. What they will expect is for you to behave like an adult. That was not always the case. I did train with some people who were older who did not conduct themselves as an adult, and they were treated as such. But I can say that when I was stuck at Fort Leonard Wood, after a certain period of time, you know, I had graduated, and even though I was a holdover, I was treated like an adult. You know, I had certain privileges, and I'm not going to say what those privileges were on camera, but I definitely was treated like an adult. I honored my duties no matter how ridiculous they were, because I understood that I was a trainee in trainee status. However, because I was an adult, because I carried myself as an adult, and because I had the respect of my drill sergeants and my leadership team, I was able to do certain things that other people couldn't. And they would inquire and ask why they couldn't do those things. And even some people even got upset about it. But, you know, sometimes when you conduct yourself in a certain manner, you know, people just respect that. So just kind of keep that in mind for the 30 plus crew. Like, if you don't go into the environment expecting any type of special treatment. However, typically you're going to be some of the oldest people in the room. Sometimes you're as old as your first sergeant, or at least real close to it. And if you conduct yourself as an adult, you're going to be treated like one. And, you know, it's just one of those things to kind of keep in mind. I didn't go into the environment trying to be anyone's mom or their big sister. I didn't try to be an adult. I just am. And so that comes across when you're grown. It comes across to other grown people like, oh wow, like I'm dealing with a whole ass adult right now. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're in that training environment. If you happen to become a holdover for any reason, if it's disciplinary, you can hang it up. Like, you're not going to get any special treatment if you're there and you're disciplined and you're there for a disciplinary issue. However, if that's not the case and you're just there stuck for whatever reason, I would say for the most part, maintain your decorum, maintain your, make sure you maintain your bearing. When you are dealing with your superiors, especially in front of their superiors, even if you have that kind of cool relationship, you have to know how to turn it on and off. You know, like if you're having like a chill conversation, you're not at parade rest, you're sitting down, your drill sergeant is standing up. However, if the commander walks into the room, you need to snap at the position of attention and make sure that if you address your drill sergeant, you go to the position of parade rest. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to know what to do, and you have to know how to conduct yourself in order to have those types of relationships with them, because they're not supposed to be your friend. They're not technically your friend. So there's always that balance of maintaining your bearing, your respect. And as long as you do that, they will notice and they'll honor that. And, you know, your time will be a lot easier. So thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's probably not what you expected, but it was something that was on my mind for a little while, and I just wanted to get it out and share with you guys. It is definitely a different perspective. I don't know anyone who has been stuck at a training location for as long as I have and who have had the opportunity to have that kind of perspective. I hope I said something that helped you today. I know for sure that there are some people shipping out in the next 2 weeks. I know for sure that there's some people shipping out in the next 4 weeks. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to view this video and maybe a couple of other videos, and I just hope that they help. So if you found this video helpful in any kind of way, please hit that like button. If you find me or my content particularly interesting, please subscribe. I can't believe that I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. Like, I just cannot believe that there are 950 persons in the world who actually want to hear what I have to say. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to my OG subscribers. You know I love you guys. So from this point forward, we're going to do Military Fridays. So every other week, I'll post a military video on Friday, and then we'll do Motivational Mondays. I wanted to switch it up a bit. You know, a lot of people do Military Mondays, but I want to do Motivational Mondays because not only do I want to motivate and encourage you, I also need to keep myself motivated because I got my own stuff going on. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that like button, smash the like button, share it if you think it will help someone else, and please do subscribe. I love you dearly. Bye. Is my hair good? How's my hair? The lighting is okay? Yes.